What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. This is a high roll in Vegas. That right there doesn't seem as obvious, but let me see if I can put my finger in it. This thing right here, that's the Spear. Look it up, Google it. But it's the new attraction in Las Vegas. And then obviously those are mountains in the background in the distance, which is pretty cool to see. See if I can pan a little slower because I know I'm moving really fast. But let me give a chance for your eyes to adjust so I know you can see the cars moving in the buildings, and then that gives you an idea of how high or how large those mountains are. Let me zoom out. Yeah. Pretty large, huh? All right, so let me see if I can set this camera up for myself. Talk to y'all, rap to you a little bit. Actually, I think I want to go a little more like that. Hopefully, it's a pretty good shot. But yeah. So today is just completed day 3 of the Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat. This is 50th anniversary of the Superstar Retreat. That's right, I said 50. And 50th anniversary, 50. So he's been doing it since 1975, which is amazing to think about. I wasn't even born yet, and he had already been doing it for almost 2 decades before I was even born, right? Almost 2 decades. With that being said, there is so much that I've got, man, where's my notebook? Notebook's over there. I don't feel like grabbing it, but I just got pages and pages. I mean, I probably have 15 pages worth of notes that I've just written, top to bottom, top to bottom. Audio recorded the entire event. And every time I come, I mean, there's people that's been coming for 20, 30 plus years to this event, right? And every year there's always new people, which to me is an amazing thing because there are a lot of events or things or people that perform or entertain where they just have one type of audience, like Tina Turner, I think is a resident here, but I think she's got an older audience, right? You're not gonna see too many 15, 20-year-old people at a Tina Turner concert, right? Frank Beverly Mays, right? If they were performing, that group was performing, or Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Now I can think of sports. Sports, they have a pretty varied genre of people or age group of people. But what's interesting is this is a business conference. And what always amazes me is that the fact that he has clients who've been coming for 20, 30 years, meaning this is their 20th, 30th event that they've come to. But there's always new people coming in all age groups. So he's got people in their 60s, 70s, even 80. I think maybe the oldest lady was 96 in attendance. Not at this specific event, but at one of his events, he had a lady that was 96 years old that came. And then also he has young people. So he has people, 20, 21 years old coming. And we're all in the real estate business. So I love that about the events. And all incomes as well. You have people that are brand new that are, haven't sold their first home, and then you've got people that have sold maybe not tens of thousands of homes themselves individually, but they have sold thousands of homes themselves individually. Maybe 2,000 or 3,000 homes individually over the course of, a 10, 20-year career, and make millions of dollars a year. So I love that about this event, and for me, it's been something that's been life-changing from the very first time I went. I have not counted how many events, but I know I've been to more than 2 for sure. And I can tell you it's life-changing. I can remember coming out of the military, I never knew what a room full of millionaires looked like until I came to this event, and now I do. And I never knew what it was like to rub shoulders or be friends or to be in communication with someone who's a multimillionaire. I didn't really know what they look like. Obviously, we all know athletes, and I say entertainers. I lump up everybody in there: actors, NFL, NBA, baseball. I lump all of those people into the category of entertainers because at the broader sense of what it is that they do, it is entertainment, right? I mean, they are elite skills and they got some gifts that God gave them, but they do have elite skills in playing their sport. But at the end of the day, it is entertainment for people, and no different than being a actor like Tom Cruise or Denzel, right? Those are entertainers as well, right? And also your favorite hip hop artists or country music artists, whoever, that is still entertainment. So I lump all those people into entertainment. So obviously we know what that room looks like, right? But your everyday millionaire, meaning your non-famous millionaire that's not, Oprah Winfrey, multi-billionaire, or Elon Musk, right? Then what do they look like? Where do they hang out? Where do they spend time, right? And for me, that a long time was a question that I had, especially when I was active duty in the military. And so to be in this room and to be at this event, it's really eye-opening, life-changing. Meet a lot of people that are very well to do financially, that are living a great life, and so it's something that I try to come to every year. And this year I had a friend. He messaged me and he was like, "Hey man, give me some gems, or please share some gems." So I decided that I'm going to release a video probably for over the next couple of weeks, and it's going to do two things. For one, it's going to have me review my notes, all those notes that I took, and two, it's going to give me a little more time to go a little bit in depth with some of the material that I would like to share because it's real estate specific, but I also know that a lot of the concepts apply across the board for business, period. And let's just be honest, I have been going pretty hard this week, and so energetically, or as far as managing my energy, I am just low on energy. So I tried to make one video earlier this week, and I think I just started rambling in the video. So I was like, yeah, cut. This is not gonna make it to the final edit. So that was just gonna be shelved indefinitely. But I do intend to, like I said, over the coming weeks, share what I've learned. Just off the top of my head, I wanted to make this quick video because I wanted to share just some things or some thoughts that I have without looking at my notes that I've just kind of taken away from the event. And one of the big things, or one of the major takeaways I took, and you guys heard this before, it's nothing new per se. But sometimes you're in a different place where you can hear things differently because you're developing as a person. But one of the biggest things I would say that I heard, or really resonated with me, was the idea that the difference between someone earning $1 million a year or multiple millions of dollars a year and someone, let's say, maybe making 50 grand a year, especially with the right opportunity. And real estate is obviously one of those opportunities. There's many out there, but that's just the one I chose and I'm aware of. But the difference between those is not necessarily one person being better than the other, but it's more so what they believe about themselves, the story that they tell themselves, right? And so I think there's a song. Well, I don't say I think I know. I don't know who sings it, but there's a song out there. I want to be a billionaire so freaking bad, right? You guys know the song, and I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, it's popular, right? A lot of people sing that song and dance along to it, and they probably do mean the lyrics, right? They do really want to be a billionaire, right? Or they wouldn't mind, right? But realistically, if you sat most of the people down that sing that song and love that song and got it on their playlist, if you actually ask them and say, "Hey, have you put a plan together to accomplish that, to actually become a billionaire?" I guarantee 99.9, probably even higher than that, right? It might even be 100%, right? Or somewhere between 99.9 and 100%, right? Uh, most of those people have never even thought about it beyond just singing the song and saying that'd be nice, right? And so if we just took that down to, let's say, becoming a multi-millionaire, which is a lot more achievable for most, then, or even a single digit millionaire, which again is still multi, right? But that is a lot more achievable for a lot of people, and there's a lot of pathways that are already very well laid out for people to follow to get there. And for most people, if you gave them that, they don't, they might say verbally, but they wouldn't in their heart of hearts honestly believe that they could execute on that or believe that it would work for them, right? It's circumstances, skills, the way they were born, the way they're raised, you named it. You know, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't live here, I don't live there, I don't have access to this person, I don't have that person as a coach, I don't have this money, I don't have this time, whatever, you name the long list of excuses. But essentially, they will not believe that they could accomplish that goal because of insert excuse, right? So number one, the multimillionaires, they just have a different belief that they can accomplish it, and then that they will figure out how to accomplish it if they haven't already done it, right? So that's a big takeaway that I got. But also the fact that the way they, or at least the story that they tell themselves, determines the actions that they take over time, right? So if you say, man, let's just use weight loss for example, right? Let's say if you got a couple 100 pounds you need to lose, or even it's 50, 60 pounds, right? And you're like, man, I need to lose 50 pounds, and oh my gosh, it's gonna suck, it's gonna be hard, and it's really gonna be a grind, right? Well, that's one story you can tell yourself, but it's not very encouraging, right? So you're gonna feel like you're really in a grind every time you say no to whatever you want to eat. Every time you are dieting, you're gonna be like you're gonna be grinding your teeth, grinding your gears, right? In the long term, that's not really sustainable. Whereas, what if you said to yourself, man, I'm excited about starting this journey to losing 50 pounds. You know what? This is gonna be easy. It's gonna, yeah, there's gonna be some tough days. There's gonna be some challenging days, but overall, it's gonna be worth it. And man, what's it gonna feel like when, I feel confident, going to the pool or going to the beach, and let's say as a guy, taking your shirt off, or as a woman, maybe you want to wear a bikini, or where you want to wear whatever, right? And you go, or maybe a certain dress you want to wear, you go, man, what's going to feel like when I feel confident to wear this attire that I may or may not feel confident in, or I feel I don't look my best in, right? How's that going to feel? I can't wait, right? So both of those are stories that you could tell to yourself, but I think we both agree that second story is going to be a lot more sustainable and going to be a lot more enjoyable with that playing in your head versus that first story that we mentioned, right? So story is a big key and a big difference on how people perform over time. The other one is professionals practice. So for a long time, I never really knew what professionals meant. And over the past few years or so, I would say I started to realize what it meant to be a professional, especially in business, right? Because, you can go to school and stuff, and they can give you a degree, give you a certificate, whatever. But that doesn't make you a professional, right? Like, I mean, I don't care what you do. Like, you're not going to graduate engineering school today and then go build a bridge tomorrow. No, you're going to have to go through certifications. You're not going to graduate med school today and then go be a doctor and do open heart surgery tomorrow. It's not going to happen, right? So in business, the same way, you're not going to go to class, take some certification, and now you're quote unquote professional. They might give you the designation or the title as a professional, but you're not really one yet, right? And so what really makes you a professional? And it's the practice. How frequently you practice. Professionals practice every single day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, year after year. That's what makes you a professional. And so it's like, just realizing like, hey, whatever it is in your business, there is something that you should be practicing, whether it's speaking, whether it's giving presentations, whether it's selling customers, whether it's selling your employees on being better employees, or the company's visions, right? Selling your leaders on motivating their quote unquote subordinates or employees to meet their metrics or meet their goals, right, et cetera, so on and so forth. But there's something you could be practicing every single day that's going to help you move the business forward or more effectively communicate in certain situations that benefit the business, right? So that's another part of being professionals practicing daily. Um, what else? Something else that you know um, at the top of my head that the other thing that stood out to me was that all the people that I respect that do this business, they all have gone up and down a couple of times. And they've all shared with me that, hey, look, like nobody's got everything all figured out, right? And that it is common for people to go up, down, back up a couple of times before they finally get it right. That is very common. And that we are developed by the fire, through the fire, not by avoiding it. So if you are in a situation where you might be struggling in life, or you're in a situation where you are not producing at the level that you think you should, you're not achieving the goals in the time frame that you think you should, that very situation might just be developing you. It might be hardening you. Might be turning you into the person that you need to become to handle or to be valuable or worthy of the success that you want. Right? So that was another takeaway that I had. It was that don't despise the struggles or the challenges that you have, because that very well is probably building and developing you to be the man that can handle what is coming or what it is that you're building and what it is that you want, right? What else is something else that's on the top of my head thinking about this event? So, I think there's something to be said about. It's just more observation, but I think there's something to be said about professional attire. I know in my videos I usually make them while I'm walking, so I'm in my gym clothes and I'm walking around. But as you can see, I'm buttoned up today, and I would say that I have a certain appreciation for professional dress when it comes to conducting business. I think too many people want to, this is my opinion, but too many people want to wear, collared shirt or, shorts, or they want to wear jeans and a shirt. They want to dress like Eric Thomas, right? And that's no shot at Eric Thomas, because he's doing well for himself. And he's helped a lot of people and motivated a lot of people. But in my opinion, I think he's more of a outlier or a unicorn rather than the standard per se, right? Majority of business still today, they want a suit and tie, right? They want that professional appearance. You think about the airlines, their pilots. You think about the doctors, right? Like your lawyers, your attorneys, right? You don't want your attorney showing up in golf shorts, right? And pajamas, because he feels more comfortable, right? You expect him to look professional. You don't want the judge showing up, in a bathrobe, right? With hair rollers, right? You don't want that to happen, right? So I think there's something to be said about professional attire and appreciating it, wearing it, using it. It just elevates how you feel about yourself, it elevates how you present yourself, it elevates how you project yourself to the world and to your clients. So that's huge. Is professional attire. What else was another huge takeaway nugget? I think also lifestyle. Every time I come to an event, I hear of a different lifestyle, and I'm just blown away. I'm literally just blown away. Like, wow. Like this guy, this gal earns that much, and they work that little, and they're able to produce that type of result. And you go, that is possible. And it's just like, I'll just say it's mind-boggling sometimes. I can tell you from personal experience. Not everybody's working 60 to 100 hours a week to make a million or million plus dollars. Not everybody, right? Not everybody's working that hard. That's not to say that they don't work hard or they don't work hard when they do work. But not everybody's putting in that type of time. Some people are disciplined and highly skilled and efficient with their use of their time, and they're just able to produce results in a shorter time frame, and therefore they're able to have more time to do what it is that they want to do. So that's something that was a huge takeaway. And then also, this is just on a side note or digression, right? We're going to digress real quick, or go off on a tangent rather. But also, just this is speaking with someone on a more one-on-one basis, but just learning about investments and the fact that your risk tolerance or your riskiness of the investment should go down the more investments you own. So that's something that gentleman taught me. He said, listen, when you don't have any investments, you can be a little more aggressive. You can, attack things. It's like the more investments you have, the more, properties you own, more buildings and more businesses you own, whatever it is, more assets basically that it is that you own, the less aggressive or risky you need to be for the next one. Meaning, if, let's say risk is high up here and then you have zero risk down here, well, then when you start, you might start way up here with the high risk stuff or medium risk stuff because you're trying to, be aggressive. But as soon as you get a couple of those, you should start to bring down the riskiness level because you already have a foundation and you don't need to push yourself to the brink where something could go wrong and hurt you. You don't want that to happen. So as you get more investments or more assets that are cash flowing, then reduce the risk that you take on each consecutive or each subsequent investment, basically. So that was like I said, a tangent, but I think nonetheless great advice. What else? I think that's all that comes to mind for now. I think the other thing would be, setting goals. Setting goals. And every time you accomplish one, obviously celebrate, but then set another goal. And realize that you should always have goals that you're working, building, striving towards. And as you hit each goal, add a new one, right? Make the next goal. That now stop you from getting so satisfied with one specific level. Yeah. So that was those are the thoughts that I can remember off the top of my head. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm starting to get a little tired now. And so I'm going to wrap this video up before I start, start rambling because, again, like I said, it's been a long week between the travels, with the flight schedule, flipping the days of night or whatever. And, just going at the event all day. But again, I wanted to make this video to share just some of the things off the top of my head. And like I said, in the coming weeks, I'll share more specific topics and go over it, with my notes out and highlight some points that I think are really important and extrapolate and go a little bit more deep into what it is that I learned. So with that, if you appreciate this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks and sharing what it is that I've learned from attending this event.